from the Dock 10 studios at Media City in Salford.
This is Jeopardy!
It's Breaking the News with Des Clark.
Hi, I'm Des Clark, and this is Breaking the News, the show that breaks the week's news and asks four opinionated panellists to put it back together again. Joining me this week are some of the best comedians around. On my right, we have Stuart Mitchell and Bethany Black, and up against them are Roscoe McClelland and Eleanor Morton. In the news this week, Greg James was forced to cut off a caller on his BBC Radio 1 programme after sex noises were played down the phone. James said he couldn't understand how it happened, as he'd no idea Matt Hancock had his number. The test firing of the UK's nuclear deterrent, the Trident missile, has failed for the second time in a row. The first time it was test fired at the submarine base in Faslane, it went off course and hit Guruk town centre, causing several hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of improvements. And Donald Trump has unveiled his new Never Surrender brand of high-top trainers. The former president has already taken orders from as far afield as Texas, Nevada and Lark Hall. Right, you've met the panel. Let's crack on with round one. This is the Broken News round, where our teams have to guess two major stories of the week that have been mashed together into one single news headline. So, Stuart and Bethany, can you tell me what this is all about?
David Cameron's government dropped a secret investigation into
the SNP.
Ministers were told the investigation would address suggestions that
First Minister Hamza Yousaf
might have been remotely altered without
the party's Westminster leader Stephen Flynn's
knowledge.
Sir Keir Starmer
Said it was for the public to reach conclusions on what had happened.
What do you think our first story might be, Stuart?
So this is the story that David Cameron's government knew that the post office had ditched a secret investigation.
Yes, there we go. This section of the show, by the way, will contain spoilers for the next series of Mr. Bates versus the Post Office. Yes, this is the latest in the Post Office scandal that, according to the BBC, David Cameron's government knew the Post Office had ditched a secret investigation that might have helped wrongly accused postmasters prove their innocence. The revelations have prompted an accusation that the Post Office may have broken the law and the government did nothing to prevent it. ITV drama Mr. Bates versus the Post Office ignited public outrage over the Post Office scandal. The show was so influential that ITV are now adapting other national scandals. First up, David Tennant stars in The Rising Cost of a Freddo. Well, there you go, Stuart. Right answer. What have you made of these revelations?
Well, people don't really know the true implications of this. I mean, even down to the fact that Postman Pat get terminated because Mrs. Goggins get the jail.
People don't think about it, do they?
It was easy enough to believe that Pat was implicated, though, because all that money disappeared and he's delivering packages by helicopter.
What do you think, Eleanor? What have you made of these revelations?
Just to clarify, when you say David Cameron's government, do you mean this one or the last one?
Well, technically the one where he was in charge.
Okay, because I get confused, because I keep seeing him and I'm like, oh yeah, that guy, he's back. And we didn't vote for him to be back, but apparently that's fine. So, I mean, it'd be nice if we could get anyone we wanted in government. I'd rather see you in, Des. I think you'd do a great job. But
thank you very much for the laughter amongst the audience.
You wouldn't do a worse job. Here's my question.
I mean, I give it a good go. You know.
I just feel so sorry for like the postmasters and all the workers, you know. Workers' rights. I feel really sorry for them because I done that job for like one Christmas because I decided I didn't hate myself enough. So I went for it. But to be fair, I mean, like some days were good. One day I got the Greenock route, and that was the best route to get because nobody in Greenock has a job. So I delivered all my parcels like that. It was incredible, man. It was just a bunch of guys in tracksuit bottoms and no t-shirts answering the door all day. I loved it, man.
By the way, I really feel sorry for anyone listening who's in Inverclyde today, because we've hammered Guruk and Greenock in the first 3 minutes.
They'll definitely be in. So.
Oh my goodness. Well, there you go. The controversy is, should they have stepped in when they knew about it? Can our panel be honest with us and tell us about a time when they should have stepped in, but they didn't?
At the moment, in the last 24 hours, I'm really feeling like I should have stepped in at some point in 1997 and not campaigned quite so hard for my local MP, Lindsay Hoyle.
Eleanor, what do you think about this? And can you tell us about a time when you should have stepped in, but you didn't?
Yeah, I was in the Sainsbury's car park the other day because I'm pretty cool, and there was a raven, and it had picked up a cigarette butt in its beak, and I was like, oh, I should probably get that out the beak because smoking's bad for you. But it did look really cool, so I don't know where that raven is now.
Is that an answer or a haiku?
Just something that happened to me.
Stuart, has this happened to you?
Probably at the P7 school Christmas disco. A massive fight broke out during the hokey cokey. So all these arms and legs were going in and out and in and out, and they're shaking wee Tam about. So during the hokey cokey, I turned around. And that's what it was all about. There you go. You didn't think that was going anywhere, did you? What's that, sure?
What's this guy talking about? Now to you, Roscoe and Eleanor, what was the other story we were after?
Humza Yousaf has said that the Labour Party have been like Margaret Thatcher because they are not supporting oil and gas workers in Scotland because they are pushing a higher tax on oil and gas.
Now that is the right answer, yes. First Minister Humza Yousaf has accused Labour of behaving like Margaret Thatcher, saying their plan to raise the windfall tax on fossil fuel firms would throw Scottish oil and gas workers on the scrap heap. He said this in Aberdeen when he announced the SNP would not back the proposals. The DUP also waded into the argument, but that was just because they object to the term fossil fuels as it implies the existence of dinosaurs.
So the rate, the tax paid on profits has gone from 40% to 65% to 75% to a proposed 78%. But there's a loophole, as there always is, because companies investing in new projects get tax relief of about 90%. So they can deduct 90% of their capital investment costs from the corporation tax bill. And so it's cheaper now to extract the fossil fuels, yet we're all paying this sky-high bills. So it's not only oil that's getting pumped.
What about you, Bethany? Do you think Humza Yousaf is right to oppose Labour's plans?
I have seen what's happening here, and bear with me because this is going to go off in a weird direction quickly before I'll bring it back. But here's the thing: like, that happened to me recently. I decided to go on TikTok, which was a terrible mistake because I'm over 40, and it is. And on there, it's all children, and they're all about 13 years old, and they're all incredibly cruel, and they all know what will upset you, and they don't care. Is what I discovered. And I went and posted a video on there a couple of weeks ago. I just got my hair cut. I'd had a nice blonde streak put in through the front of my hair, and I felt like I looked good.
Yeah.
And the first comment was from a 13-year-old, and they said, "Oh my God, before you started talking, I could have sworn you were Keir Starmer." And it was so accurate. I just had to delete the app. Like, that is the worst lookalike I've ever been given by somebody else. When it comes to, I think he probably is right in this respect, I guess.
Well, there you go.
We need to move over to renewables, don't we? That's where it's going. I mean, unless you want to see, like, Aberdeen underwater.
Well...
This has made Eleanor rethink her entire stance. So there we go. We're talking, of course, about the comments this week, but it's all about a windfall tax. So, Eleanor, if you could introduce a new tax on something, what would it be and why?
I would introduce a tax for every minute people are late over the minutes they say they're going to be late. So if they say that, oh, I'm running 10 minutes late, but they're running 12 minutes late, that's a tax on each of those minutes, because I think we've become sloppy with our timekeeping.
I didn't realise how big an issue this was.
It's a massive issue, Des. Thank you for bringing it up.
What about if they're 10 minutes early? Do you give them a tenner?
No, because that's also inconvenient. You've got to be on the dot. On the dot. That's why they call me On the Dot Morton. No one calls me that.
That's a nickname you're trying to cultivate.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay, punctuality should be taxed. What do you think, Roscoe? If you could introduce a new tax on something, what would it be and why?
I would happily pay my taxis if I knew what was actually happening with them, right? My mum used to sponsor like an African child called Atiba, and every now and then through the post we'd get like a little picture or like a little pamphlet of like, oh, what they've been up to. They've built a well, you know. I would pay my taxis if I get that sort of stuff. Like, oh, your taxi's paid to fill in this pothole, you know. Your taxi's paid off Prince Andrew's accusers, you know.
The Scottish Greens say we should be weaning the country off fossil fuels and harnessing the abundance of offshore energy at Scotland's disposal, like the masses of static energy generated from all the shell suits still being worn in Pilton. And at the end of that round, well done, the teams are all square! Now, much of our news is about public opinion, so to find out what stories people are talking about, we spoke to two friends of the show, broadcaster and journalist Lucy White and legendary broadcaster Brian Burnett. So, Roscoe and Eleanor, what do you think Brian is on about here?
This is mind-blowing music news. Besides, she's from Texas and it's got actual banjos on it. What more could you want? All the single line dancers, put your hands up. Next time she comes to Scotland, she'll be swapping Hampden Park for the Grand Ole Opry in Glasgow.
I think it's the incredible news that Beyonce, Queen Bee herself, has taken the jump into country music now.
Brilliant answer, and that is correct, Roscoe. Yes, this is the news that Beyonce has become the first black woman to top Billboard's Hot Country Songs chart. Texas Hold'em soared to #1 after the musician released it during the Super Bowl. The track also made her the second solo female artist to have a song go straight in at #1. 3 of Beyonce's hits are Run the World, Partition and Sorry, also known as the 3 stages of the British Empire. Bethany, what have you made of this news about Beyonce stepping into country music?
Country songs now are all, I love my town, I love my guns, I love my little red pickup truck. And that's terrible, because I used to like old-fashioned country songs that are all, my husband lied to me and now I've stabbed him in his bed. Like...
I just love that there's like an element of sadness to country music, you know, like, because it's just great to hear that someone's doing worse than you, you know. Like, I was having a bad day while a couple of weeks back, you know, and then I happened upon this a local Facebook group, and there was a man complaining about some dog mess at a local park, and not only the amount of dog mess, he was complaining that he'd slipped in it, and he had got it on his jacket. And I just thought, you know what? Things aren't that bad for me, really. I've not got a mad jobby jacket.
Eleanor, we're talking about country music. One of the things that defines that genre, the names of the artist. If you were to reinvent yourself, Eleanor, as a country star, what would your name be?
Roscoe McClelland.
I'm a 35-year-old straight white man who can play a little bit of guitar. You know, like, whatever I'd done, they would eat it. I could call myself Old Slippin' Jimmy Jobby Jacket, and they would...
This audience is buying a ticket. I mean, get yourself to Nashville. Bethany, what about yourself? We're talking about reinventing you as a country star. What would your name be?
So I think I'd have to go with something like Trip Hazard.
Stuart, what about you? The names in country music are legendary. If you were to reinvent yourself as a country star, what would your name be?
Well, in a cost-of-living crisis, I'd be Johnny Naycash.
And there we are, Beyonce goes country. That was indeed the story. Well done. Over to you, Stuart and Bethany. It's your turn now. What do you think Lucy is talking about here?
When this has happened to me, I have tried lots of different things, but now that I know, it's certainly good to have that up my sleeve. I'm really interested to see if single men, they decide to switch things up a little bit.
So this is a story that vegetarian diets cuts the risks of snoring.
Yes, a study has found that sticking to a largely vegetarian diet can cut the risk of developing obstructive sleep apnea, the medical condition that causes heavy snoring. Switching away from meat could prevent or treat sleep apnea as it reduces inflammation and obesity. You can reduce the symptoms of sleep apnea with a cumbersome CPAP machine or CPAP machine and a mask that you have to wear throughout the night, or by simply giving up alcohol. To which most Scots said, let me have a look at that wee mask. What do you think, Eleanor? Would you consider changing your diet to improve your sleep?
Well, it's interesting because a lot of people ask if I'm vegetarian and I'm not, but I think I've got the vibe of a vegetarian, which means I seem pale and weak. But that's entirely genetic, guys. I eat a lot of meat, okay? And I will say, it's interesting that the vegetarian diet has been proven to be so good for us in so many different ways, and yet 90% of us are like, so we can't eat bacon? Nah, probably not do it then.
I think it's great that they've managed to exhaust all the other big reasons for changing your diet, like heart disease and obesity, and now they're just moving on to like these minor annoyances to your partner to try and push it. Like, oh, I can't wait till the next study's released. It's like, oh, eating just egg whites actually helps you take the bins out.
We are trying, we're doing it. What about a panel then? Are we a bunch of snorers? Is snoring something that affects you, Stuart?
Well, it never affected me. It affected my dad. He used to snore a lot, but he used to put mouth tape on to help. But then one night my mum forgot and also put a peg in his nose. God rest his soul. Stopped his snoring.
It was effective.
I go to sleep and it's like, poof, poof, oh, I'm awake. And I'm just back in the world, and it's torturous. But I wear it well. And interesting, I don't know if you remember this, Bethany.
I do remember this.
Yeah,
I was just thinking about this.
We were doing a gig in the Stand Comedy Club, and I think you were hosting and I was closing, or vice versa, and we were talking about this back in the back room, and I was like, oh, I don't have dreams. And Bethany was like, oh, I've actually been looking into that recently for a thing, and it turns out that people who don't have dreams are actually psychopaths. And then it was like, all right, time to go on stage. And Bethany just walked through a curtain and I'm like, my life has changed. Backstage Googling, can you be a nice psychopath?
Now, obviously, we're talking about creating a lifestyle change, but what lifestyle change would you recommend?
Realising that in a relationship, having a dishwasher gets rid of like 90% of arguments.
Wow, that's amazing. That should be step one of any marriage counselling. Buy a dishwasher.
Yeah, a dishwasher, yeah. We've got a cleaner now as well. That's like, yeah, I know, right?
Next level, that, isn't it?
I know, exactly. All of my ancestors are spinning in their graves.
Well, at least they're getting a good wash.
Yeah.
Yes, a joke only a psychopath would make. Yes, a link between diet and snoring is the right answer. 2 points goes to Stuart and Bethany. You're listening to Breaking the News from BBC Radio Scotland with me, Des Clark. Now, this round is all about who's in the news. I will play you a clip of a mystery person. All you have to do is tell me who it is. So, Stuart and Bethany, you're first this time. Who is this?
After this coma, I just jumped to the long period of kind of crazy hallucinations and several, steps of realizing where I am, who I am.
This is a story about Alex Navalny.
Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny, a vocal critic of President Vladimir Putin, has died whilst being held in an Arctic penal colony. Whilst the cause of death remains unknown, Western leaders have made clear that they hold the Russian regime and Mr. Putin, who is running for re-election in a month, ultimately responsible. In retaliation, the UK has frozen the assets of 6 Russian prison bosses in charge of the Arctic penal colony where Mr. Navalny was being held.
What amazes me is the UK government is frozen the assets of Russian prison bosses in charge of the facility. I mean, what are Russian prison bosses doing with assets in the UK? Are they sitting there saying, we cannot go to Taylor Swift at Murrayfield? I mean, is there prison officers in Greenock prison get assets in Russian vodka? I mean, I just found that incredible.
Eleanor, given his lifelong opposition to Putin, were there always going to be questions around Alexei Navalny's death?
I don't know what you're talking about, Des. I think Putin's a great guy. And I look forward to his eventual premiership of this country after World War III.
You try to get that RTV job after Alex Salmond? Is that what's happening?
I don't know what you mean, Roscoe.
I mean, I admire the bravery of some of these people as well, going out in the streets in Moscow. I mean, I wouldn't even protest in the streets in my hometown of Biggar. I mean, I'd be frightened the Tory MP David Mundell arranged to have my rolling sausage spiked with hummus.
It's an election year in Russia, so do you expect Vladimir Putin to win again?
Oh, absolutely, 100%, which is the vote count that he's going to get.
Eleanor, it's an election year in Russia. Do you expect Vladimir Putin to win again?
Yes, and he deserves it.
These feel like pre-scripted answers.
No.
Okay, thank you very much to Eleanor Moscow. So recently, Tucker Carlson, an American broadcaster, was criticised for not asking Putin any tough questions in a rare interview. So what question would you put to Vladimir Putin if you could?
If you were going to reinvent yourself as a country star, what would your name be?
Rootin' tootin' Vladimir Putin.
There you go, well done. 2 points to Stuart and Bethany. That was, of course, Alexei Navalny. Right, over to you, Roscoe and Eleanor. It's your turn. Who is this and why are they in the news?
I'm not really like an adventurer. I did rowing at university, but I always say that was really more about the social club. I think you can't spend that much time in the ocean and not be changed by the experience. The sunrises and sunsets are like absolutely nothing on this earth.
I think this is Leanne Maiden.
This is Leanne Maiden, who lives in Scotland and was in the news this week after she completed a solo row across the Atlantic Ocean. Ms Maiden spent 66 days at sea, rowing 3,000 nautical miles from the Canary Islands to the Caribbean, raising thousands of pounds for charity.
I did hear that she is a mum, and the story made way more sense when I found that out. Because if I had a kid, I'd go and row solo around the world.
A great achievement from Leanne Maiden. Roscoe, what are your thoughts on how amazing this story is?
Honestly, I don't like it, this. Because here's the thing. They raised, £8,500 for charity. But see the boat that she had to get to row it? They cost in upwards of 50 grand a pop. And I'm like, well, just give that to charity. And don't do the rowing aspect. Oh, do you know, I'm actually doing a 5K run next week in my Gucci loafers, if anyone would like to donate any money to it. She's ridiculous, man.
Stuart, are you impressed by these achievements? How amazing is this story for you?
Well, Roscoe just said that she should have gave the boat to charity, but it went 3,000 miles for 66 days, so she's actually sold it to Calmac.
Well, obviously, Leanne Maiden, amongst other things, is being called an inspirational parent. So, Eleanor, how have your parents inspired you?
They've inspired me to always question, does the big light need to be on?
Bethany, what about you? How have your parents inspired you?
I think my dad inspired me quite a lot when I was a kid, when I was growing up, because my dad was a teacher, but he'd also been expelled from school. Because back in the 50s, when he was at school, he was supposed to be doing a cross-country run, and him and his friends nipped off out of the path of the run to have a couple of cigarettes and just hang out, and then went, we'll join them at the end when they're running back to the school, and they mistimed it and arrived back 5 minutes before everyone else. And so we ended up having to compete in the regional finals.
I love that. That's brilliant. Stuart, what about you? How have your parents inspired you?
Well, I think to improve my diet and go for regular checkups. Because they're both dead.
Turning a negative into a positive. Yes, Leanne Maiden is, of course, the right answer, and 2 points go to Roscoe and Eleanor. And it's time now for our final quick-fire round, which is all about deciphering the numbers in the news. I will read out a headline. All the teams have to do is fill in the blanks. So get ready, teams. When we run out of time, you'll hear this.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party!
Oh, there we go. That's our very own David Tennant there auditioning for Barbie 2, Rise of the Robots. Right, fingers on the buzzers. Here we go. 12% of us have done what during a work video meeting? Eleanor.
Paid attention.
That number is way too high. 12% of us have done what during a work video meeting? Bethany.
Done that thing where you walk behind the couch and pretend you're going downstairs.
That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It is, it's cool. If you're on a video call, you got to do something.
That's brilliant. 12% of us have done what during a work video meeting? Roscoe.
Is it screamed, "You have no authority here" to an old lady?
One of the best lockdown callbacks ever, mate. Brilliant. These are lovely. 12% of us have done what during a work video meeting? Stuart.
Oh, sorry, I was on mute.
Brilliant answer. I salute you for that. That was great. I've got the actual answer here. 12% of us have been on the toilet during a work video meeting. That's what
So
we
much
wanted
worse.
to hear. I know.
Come on, Barbie. Let's go party!
Oh, there we go. That's the klaxon. David has tenanted, meaning it's all over. And at the end of the quiz, our winners this week are Stuart Mitchell and Bethany Black. And commiserations to Roscoe McClelland and Eleanor Morton. And we'll leave you with the breaking news just in. Detectives investigating the SNP's finances have requested to re-interview staff working at the party's headquarters. The police officers have now spent so much time at the SNP offices, they've been added to the rota to bring in cakes on a Friday. A bodybuilder from Fife has said potatoes were the key to him finally realising his dream of winning Mr. Universe. Mark Taylor said the tatties really bulked his muscles up, although they did keep rolling out of his sleeves. And a nationwide search for an ancient Scottish treasure that was missing for nearly a century is finally over after it was traced to the south of England. Yes, thankfully, Lulu will be returned to Glasgow in the coming days. The news is broken. I've been Des Clark. Goodbye!